everybody, welcome to it, mini cast number 12. Today we're going to be talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi. We haven't really been talking about it on the actual main show, but I have Bryan here with me, and we're going to go ahead and kind of give our thoughts about how exactly, how we've been liking or disliking Kenobi, and also what we're thinking is going to be happening going into our finale. As of recording right now, it is Friday. It's Saturday, the week of the upcoming Obi-Wan Kenobi finale.
Yeah, so it should, as of releasing of this mini-cast, it should be a couple days before.
It should air maybe a day or so before.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so Bryan, what I know that based off of our conversations, you have not been the biggest fan of not necessarily the story, but the cinematography.
So it's the directing style. Like, look, I understand, every director has their kind of like take and their, the way they want to direct a certain show or TV or movie, whatever you want to call it, right? What are you looking at? Oh,
Hayden's here.
Hayden? All right. Sorry, we're recording this during store hours.
We're in the studio. The studio is open for business.
Yes. So I get it. Every director has their own style, how they want to do things. 100% understandable.
Absolutely.
But when you have certain things in a show or movie that don't work, shaky cam, bad angles, things that distract you away from the main story or the thing that you're trying to sell, that's where I have a problem. And so for me, who was it? The director of cinematography for this is someone who's actually worked on like really good stuff, right? It's not, I don't want to blame the DP because they're not really at fault over here. I feel like a lot of the scenes that were shot for Obi-Wan are very quick, fast-paced. They're like quick decisions. Like, okay, how can we get this message across as quickly as possible? I don't know what to blame it on. What I've told you before, Nick, I think that the director, Deborah Chow, just doesn't have proper discipline to really understand.
She's credited as the director and director of cinematography for both.
Okay, there you go. I don't think that there is enough discipline to really showcase the story the way it's supposed to be. She doesn't understand what needs to be in focus and how to transition from one scene to another, or even kind of like put a scene in front of us and not get us distracted with shaky cam or things in the background that really don't make sense.
Okay, I understand that. I've gone back and rewatched, and some of the things that you mentioned they're noticeable, but honestly, I've seen worse in other things, and I do get that it's a Star Wars thing, and it is something that it shouldn't be there.
Mm-hmm.
It really shouldn't be there, but maybe it's just me, but also that doesn't really detract me from the story that's being told.
Yeah.
So what exactly do you feel, how do you feel about the story that's being told so far?
The story is fine. I think if we were to compare ourselves between you and I of like a Star Wars fan, you're the most advanced. You've watched every series. You are the one that gets into it deeply and will get into arguments comfortably and feel that you could probably fight someone without losing.
Yeah.
Right? When it comes to me, I know enough to stand my ground, but I don't know the higher in-depth details, the concept, the way the story was developed, or the production team that went through it and what they originally had in plan to kind of like tell a different story, so on and so forth,
well,
right?
The understanding of, because it's weird, because in Obi-Wan, there's an unseen tapestry of other lines where it needs to connect.
Yes.
Like the story is fine, it's going through, but at one point it needs to connect to another series, or it needs to connect to this movie, or it needs to connect here, and they have like really thin lines that are going out there, and so that as a Star Wars fan who's watched a lot of the TV shows, the animation shows, and also the movies, you can see the tapestry and you can see how it's going to land.
Yeah. There's enough of that for me to appreciate, and I feel the story is the strongest part of the series. Yes. It's definitely the highlight of it all. Part of it is nostalgia. Part of it is an appreciation of the expanded story that is being told here. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of the times when we hear the Darth Vader story and what he went in between, episode 3 and episode 4, it's in comic book or literature form, right?
Yeah. We never really, we talk about it all the time of Fallen Order.
Yeah, exactly.
Of being a great demonstration of the terrifying representation of Darth Vader. Of just kind of going like, this guy's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Like if I had to face against Darth Vader, I would be I would be so scared. I would be dead.
Yeah.
There's no. I think I would just be terrified from looking at it.
You're just like, it's a death sentence.
It's a death sentence. Like I'm
Yeah.
in everything that goes wrong with that.
But that's the great part about it, is that when we did get to see another live representation of Darth Vader, the last time we really saw him was in Rogue One, and everyone was thrilled to see him in that sort of way. You know, we talk about the scenes that we see of Darth Vader and his true power,
Yes.
but based off the comic books, based off another visual representation medium that not a lot of people get into, right? Now it's good to see him here in another TV show that truly showcases how far he's willing to go to get to where he wants to. And that was a main theme in this last episode that came out, the one before the series finale, where his eye is on victory constantly. He will do whatever it takes to get to a victory. That was Anakin's way.
Yes.
Right? So the story and the details that are fine-tuning all of that is its strongest element. What really takes it away from me is the directing. And it's complicated because, you know, part of me really wants to love this series for what it is. The other part of me is constantly watching it with like a foot right out the door, going like, holy crap, some of this stuff I cannot take.
And I get that, but going into the actual, let's. I know it's hard for you, but we're gonna disregard.
No, I can. I can pull that away.
Let's throw that out. The overall story that's happening inside of Obi-Wan Kenobi, we haven't really talked about what's going on. We have a couple of issues that are coming out either this week or next week of, was it my thoughts on the episode so far?
Minutes to Midnight, the new show where Nick does a summary of every episode.
Yeah.
That's going to be a fun edit.
That's going to be a fun edit. What was it? Especially with the hijinks that we added into it. But my big thing for it is that I personally think that it's an interesting story of seeing this of seeing Obi-Wan Kenobi go from being basically the hermit that Owen was saying he was inside of 4. He's just kind of a desert hermit. No one really talks to him. He doesn't really have a life. And going from that to full-blown Jedi Master that is able to actually kill Darth Maul in 2 hits. So it's kind of interesting to see how he's growing back into that Jedi Master. He's really developing in the Force, and he's kind of seeing the way that the galaxy is transformed over the last past 10 years.
I think you and I can relate to this because we've both played Fallen Order, right? And one of the greatest aspects of Fallen Order, the video game, is how what's his name? Cal Kestis, how he meets a former Jedi Master that completely disconnected himself from the Force.
Yes.
Right? And we see that aspect in Obi-Wan where...
And that was the first thing you told me is he's disconnected from the Force.
And it's such a good thing. Yeah. It's a good little throwback because not a lot of people realize that you can disconnect yourself from the Force to basically hide yourself from other Force-sensitive people. They can't sense your presence in certain areas.
But once you've severed it, it's very difficult to connect back.
Exactly.
Because you have to be in that. It's kind of like you cutting a bunch of threads, like you're cutting all these threads to the Force, and once you sever them, you would have to. It's a lot of mental training and a lot of mental stability that has to happen in order for you to reconnect those threads, to be able to not only wield the Force but wield it in a masterful way.
Exactly. So I mean, it's difficult because, you know, I mean, what do you want to do? Do you want to talk about the entirety of its series or kind of our thoughts before we do a full issue of it next week?
Well, yeah. So my thing is that we have basically for the series it was we can do a quick rundown because we only have another 5 minutes.
Yeah.
We've already hit 10. We only have 5 minutes, so really quick. The entirety, the synopsis of the series is it is a story of Obi-Wan Kenobi being pulled out of retirement, like the old grudged kind of like war veteran that he is.
I didn't want to be back in this world, but they made me do it.
They pulled me back in, and it's all because Leia is being used as a way of getting Obi-Wan Kenobi out of hiding. So that way, Reva, one of the third sister, can find Darth Vader and kill him. And this entire show has really been her manipulation of the 2 men, so that way she can get her revenge.
Yeah, and I will say it's not an easy story to tell, and I understand why the warnings are there, because some of the stuff, especially if you you don't like that kind of, the theme and topic about it, they do reference a lot Order 66 and the killing of children.
They show it.
And I jokingly said it in the chat, where they must have told Hayden Christensen to swing for the fences, because that last scene, you could tell there was some passion. It's like, look, you're not aiming for kids at this point. You're aiming at something else. There was a lot of passion in that swing right there.
You know what? Honestly, I thought it would have been funny if they would have just been like, these are the comments about episode 2. Just swing at the comments. In episode 2.
Remember when they hated you?
Now kill him, Christian. Kill him.
I mean, it's good. And you know what? I will say this. We can go ahead and skip all of it up to, this recent episode. The other episodes were build-ups. They were very slow. There wasn't a lot of action besides, I think, episode 3, where Obi-Wan finally fights, weakenly fights Darth Vader. And Darth Vader eventually wins because he had to run away, right?
The funny thing is that, honestly, this entire series kind of reminded me of Fallen Order a lot.
It's Fallen Order.
The idea of him having to mainly deal with stormtroopers.
Yeah, that's all it is.
And him being able to just run through stormtroopers.
Yeah.
Like, if it's stormtroopers by themselves, it's not that big of a deal.
No.
Especially like a squadron of like 6. Not that big of a deal.
It's very interesting because in this last episode that came out, it was its strongest one, right? We did get to see the full force of Darth Vader's power. We did get to see Reva finally say, like, you know what, I'm going to take down Vader for what he did to me and my family, the only family I knew. And eventually she loses. Spoiler alert,
That's a very interesting idea of, there are different reasons why Jedi fall to the dark side. Because Hayden's was Anakin's reason for going is to save his wife and to save his kids, and to save his kid. And then after that he had failed, he was angry with the galaxy and angry with the Jedi Order for taking them away. After that, but the thing is that you have other reasons why people have fallen to the dark side.
And Reva is a good example.
And Reva is a great example of the reason why she falls to the dark side is because she has hate for Darth Vader for killing her family. And that's so interesting of another story. And not only that, but also it really explains why in this entire series she's harping on Obi-Wan. Because even the Grand Inquisitor is like, I don't know why you keep on trying to get Obi-Wan. Like, that's too big of a fish for you. Like, why are you keep on trying to get Obi-Wan? We haven't found him in 10 years. But she knows, if I can find his master, I can pull Darth Vader out of his castle. I can pull him away and maybe get him alone.
Exactly.
For an assassination attempt.
Yeah. Overall, honestly, the series, it's difficult to recommend on my end. I feel like if you are a true Star Wars fan and want to know more, it is an easier recommendation than the Book of Boba Fett. By far easier. It
feels a little, say what you will about the direction, the story feels like it was put together a little better.
Yeah, it was. It definitely was. There's an understanding of the history behind Star Wars. It doesn't really tread on anything that was before it, and it wants to expand on the Obi-Wan Kenobi story.
I feel like there's
as Darth Vader.
I feel like there's a journey and a destination.
Yes. Now, in terms of the direction of it, I'll talk more about it in the main issue, but it is a little more complex. It's a lot sloppier, and there's certain scenes, and I'll discuss it in the main issue, where I really felt that it could have been filmed differently, and I feel like anyone could have done a better job in directing it, but the story is a solid Star Wars story, and it does give us a little more of that kind of like non-lightsabery aspect of Star Wars, which is always great to have.
Yes.
Because the main stories of the main movies, it's always about the lightsaber, man. I mean, it's always this. I just wanted to hold it, I just bought the dark saber.
You just bought the dark saber in the shop.
But
I do agree with you. Like, I do like the idea of more of like the actual connection that people have to the Force and the greater mission than just being a Jedi. I love the idea when they're talking to him, and then Obi-Wan very much snaps into general mode.
Yes, they still refer to him as a general.
And,
General
and he
Kenobi.
goes, and he still goes, all right, you heard the general. And I also really love it too, because in the Clone Wars animated series, one of the biggest things that was known about Obi-Wan Kenobi was that he was a trickster.
Mm-hmm.
That whenever you thought you knew what Obi-Wan's plans were, that was never it. He
the
always
wise
had
Jedi.
Yeah. He always had another trick up his sleeve in order to trick you into doing what he wanted to do.
To wrap up the mini cast,
Yes.
do we get a Qui-Gon Jinn cameo?
I believe so. By the end of this, I feel that the reason why we haven't had it and he hasn't been able to reach out to Qui-Gon Jinn is because, for one, his connection to the Force hasn't been strong enough. He has to accept that mission, and he has to accept that this is what he has to do. And I feel like once he accepts it, he'll have that connection to Qui-Gon Jinn, and I feel like there will be not necessarily a long cameo, but I do feel like you are going to get maybe an end credit scene or or an ending of Qui-Gon Jinn talking to Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan.
I do feel that there is going to be a fight on Tatooine with Reva. And I do feel like we are going to have another fight with Darth Vader. Mm-hmm. We have to have another fight with Darth Vader.
There will be an end fight. I do believe Qui-Gon will be there. I think Reva will probably have a change of heart or something along the lines that will lead to her death. I don't think that she's going to survive the series.
She's not.
Yeah.
Because all the Inquisitors are dead.
Mm-hmm.
By the end of Rebels, all the Inquisitors are dead.
Yeah.
And most of them were killed on on a Sith planet by Darth Maul. So that's the reason why I'm like, okay, cool. Reva is most likely going to die. I do want to see her kind of in the desert, though. Like that fight in the desert.
She dies saving Luke because she does not want to witness another kid's death.
I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that, but also I can also see Obi-Wan killing her because she's blinded by her rage.
That could also be a thing.
Of not realizing that you're going down the same path he did.
Yeah.
You're doing the same thing by hurting this kid.
Yeah.
Because at no point can Darth Vader know to go to Tatooine.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no reason why he should know to go to Tatooine. But if Reva goes there and he needs to protect her, then that's another thing. And I can totally see Reva sitting in the Owens house waiting for Obi-Wan and just kind of like, you're coming with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would be so interesting. That would be such a gut-wrenching moment when they have to have their duel. And I do want to see the duel of, because Anakin toyed with her, of Obi-Wan just doing the very much Darth Maul fight of just click, mm-hmm. We're done. Get you.
It's interesting because, they still keep to that aspect of Darth Vader not being the fancy lightsaber wielding guy that we like, that most of us think that we would see. Bulky armor, very covers all over his body. He's still just kind of doing simple maneuvers, but we still the power of the Force that we see inside of him.
It's brutality.
It's great. It's good. Ready to wrap this up? Or do you have last thoughts?
Yeah, it was great seeing Hayden Christensen back.
Oh,
actually seeing him in the braids and everything else. I was saying to a buddy of mine, because in the very beginning of that scene, he's staring at the senator's building. Mm-hmm. It's where the senators all live. Mm-hmm. So he's staring at Padme's room. Like he's staring at her apartment building. So he's longing for her as he's training.
Yeah.
And because he even says, I haven't seen her in 10 years.
Yeah.
In the very beginning of episode 2, which this takes place just before.
Yeah.
So I love that. I love the idea of, like, no matter where he was in his Jedi training or life, he was always thinking of Padme.
It's great. It's a good little throwback. Easy recommendation, more than the Book of Boba Fett, but not as strong as the Mandalorian. We'll
honestly, yeah, but
yeah.
It's just gonna happen.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So check in with us next week. We're gonna be talking a full story about our thoughts, where it went, how did we like it, the connections to the other series and everything else, all next week in the next week's podcast. Go ahead and check us out on our YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe, hit the bell on our YouTube. Make sure to check out Our Real Addiction. I believe they're going to be doing something on Obi-Wan as well, aren't they?
Probably. I got to talk to them.
Yeah, they're probably going to do some stuff on there. They're also going to be doing their audio and visual as well this week. Check out the main podcast. Make sure to hit up our website, and also go to any other. We are on any other audio platform that you may want to listen to
For our main issues.
For our main issues. This was only going to be on YouTube, but check us out. Yeah. Anything else, Brian?
That's it. Sign it off.
Sounds good. All right, guys. So this is minicast number 12. We'll be catching you guys next time. All right.
See ya.
Later.